is possibly one of the most important things you need to decide before you take on the debt. Number one, are you going to graduate? And number two, what are you going to graduate as?
So the reason I tend to use credit is because I say this system that we have now is not capitalism, it's creditism.
Yes.
Creditism sounds better than debtism.
People don't use the word credit very often. The relationship between credit and debt?
Well, so total credit is equal to total debt because one person's loan is another person's debt, right? So the two have to equal each other. So one way of thinking about this, the easiest way to think about it is all the debt in the country. Government debt, household sector debt, corporate debt, financial sector debt, all the debt. It first went through $1 trillion in 1964 when I was 4 years old. Now it's $90 trillion, from 1 trillion to 90 trillion during my lifetime. And this credit explosion, which would not have been possible if we had remained on a gold system where dollars were backed by gold.
Debt is a four-letter word for most people. There are many people in my position, so-called financial gurus, who say live totally debt-free. And there's other people who say cut up your credit cards. And, that's good advice for certain types of people. So you should definitely cut up your credit cards if you don't know, you can't control your spending. You should definitely. But I don't know how people live without credit cards. I don't know how you can check into a hotel, rent a car, or go shopping, go out for dinner, but you should cut up your credit cards if you're a shopaholic. That's good advice. Yeah, credit's not a word people use. They use credit card, but they think about debt, their household debt. So that's what I'm saying. Because Rich does not we don't teach economists. We teach everyday mom and pop who is trying to speculate on their 401k or their house.
So the reason I tend to use credit is because I say this system that we have now is not capitalism, it's creditism.
Yes.
Creditism sounds better than debtism.
Yeah, what Richard is saying is the way America grew was because we produced products. Now we don't produce products, they create credit or debt. Am I correct on that one? That's
right. Instead of our economy being driven by investment and savings as it used to be, is now driven by credit creation and consumption, and more credit creation and consumption.
Before we continue, help us clicking that YouTube like button and subscribe now to our channel. This shows the algorithm that you valued this information. And it helps us spread that message. Sharing is caring. And now, let's continue.
It's been great. The problem is it requires credit growth to survive. If credit contracts, we have a depression. And that has made us dependent now on government borrowing and government spending to keep us out of depression.
So anyway, the reason inflation is going to wipe out because the average person is a consumer. Everybody talks about, I want to, T-bone steak is this now, and gasoline's this, and toilet paper's that. But that's because Biden and company and the Fed are protecting, and had John McGregor on board, protect the bank. So that's why I feel for the working class people. I think it's criminal that our school system is part of Marxism. There's no financial education in school, and it's not a mistake. But today, what's happened, and people are still saying, it's because the container ships aren't discharged in Long Beach Harbor and all that. And I went to school. I can drive those. I have a third mate and fly plane. But anyway, it's all BS. So the people who are complaining about inflation, just know it's because the Federal Reserve Bank, U.S. Treasury, which is Janet Yellen, who was also head of the Federal Reserve Bank, they're as corrupt as they're communists, frickin' communists, and we worship them.
We're reliant on government borrowing and spending. So the solution is how to finance the next American century is, since we've seen over the last dozen years, it is possible for the government to borrow trillions of dollars and to finance this through money creation, we should not waste this money that the government's going to borrow. We should invest it in new industries and new technologies on a multi-trillion-dollar scale over the next 10 years. And if we do, that will induce such a technological revolution. It will turbocharge economic growth. It would make everyone enormously wealthy. But more importantly, it would create such technological miracles and breakthroughs that we really would have a shot at curing all the diseases and extending life expectancy and developing limitless clean energy.
And the other thing about debt, there's good debt and bad debt. And if you only have bad debt, which I classify student loan debt as bad debt. The main reason it's bad debt is because it's the worst possible type of debt. You see, if I get into trouble as a businessman with debt, I can declare bankruptcy and I'm clean. But the trouble with student loan debt, you can't do, it hangs around your neck for the rest of your life. So if you're a student, you shouldn't take on student loan debt unless you absolutely 100% guaranteed that you will commit to graduating. So have you seen a lot of kids drop out of school?
Oh, yeah.
And so the problem with student loan debt is a person has to know what are they going to study.
I have bad news for you. If you're not rich by now, you're screwed. And if you're in debt, you're even double screwed. How so, you might wonder? Well, the sad truth is that you're working your whole life to make someone else rich. The mega corporations, the banks, the politicians, everyone is getting richer. They get your money. And what is even worse, they get your time, they get your life. You are not even in a rat race, you're in a financial prison. But what could a solution for you look like? Honestly, I don't know, but I know what a solution for me would look like. It's very simple. I use whatever money I have and I multiply it with 1,000. This could make my life much easier and probably yours as well. If you have $1,000 available and multiply this with 1,000, I believe that this could solve some financial issue for the one or the other. Of course, if you're ugly, you would have to multiply it with much more than 1,000. My name is Marco Stan, and this is what I decided to do. I decided to 1000x my money. This is not a joke. I know what you may be thinking. What is this guy talking about? How should this work? This is not possible. Well, I made a detailed video where I laid out my plan. And some clever folks might even want to look at this plan and copy it and do exactly what I do. This is just a little hint on the side. You have two options. You leave, you forget what you have seen. You do whatever you're doing and you hope that somehow you get some other results. Good luck with that. Or you click the link below the video. You enter your email address because I'm not showing this to everybody. You at least watch my video on how I plan to 1000x my money. The choice is yours. Make the right choice. Join me. See what a different future you could have. See at least how I intend, how I plan to do the 1000x. So click on the link below, enter your email address, and I see you on the other side. Your Marco Stan.